What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Dark Previews, and in today's video, I've got 7 picks on this massive 13-game slate on the NBA. But before we get into that, we have to be accountable for the picks we put out in the last video. I shared 4 different picks on that video. We did go 3-1. Another winning day. I will take it. Firstly, with the winners, we took Tyrese Maxey under 6.5 assists. I told you guys to take the over in points, under in assists, and boy, did it cash. That assist line moved to 5.5 at plus money. Still told you to take the unders. Only finished with 4. We also took DeAndre Ayton over 14.5 points. I said he'd be good for 16 to 18 points. My man finished on 17 points in a nice win there for the Trailblazers. And Herb Jones, under 5.5 rebounds and assists. He finished with 3, under his rebounds line and under in his assist line. So pretty sweat-free on our winners, but we did have a loser on the day. Buddy Hield. We took him for over 2.5 3-pointers made. My man was awful. 1 3-pointer from 9 attempts and a great matchup. Shooters get cold, and my man Buddy and his big-ass teeth, as cold as it gets. But we move on. We take the win. We've got a lot of games today. I've also got 2 picks that I assume nobody is talking about on some young players, and I'm expecting a big game from both of them. So stick around to the end of the video. If that sounds interesting, let's go. So we're jumping into Props Madness. If you did not know, this is the most advanced NBA data tool that you are going to see. I've been partnered up with these guys for this season. It's going to be an amazing tool that continues to improve. If you're interested in checking this out, 7-day free trial in the video description below. Plus, I'm one of the only people on this earth that you can get a discount with. So use the code DAFT when you sign up and you'll get 25% off. And whilst I've got your attention, give us a like, comment down below what your favorite bet is of the day, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're growing fast. Next milestone is 11,000. Help your boy get there. So for our first pick in this game, I'm heading over to the Washington Wizards versus the Atlanta Hawks. 2 pretty poor defensive teams here, but who the hell do we bet on? And I'm looking at my man Jordan Poole. And I do like his points prop in this game. It is at 20.5, but the bet that I'm taking here is his 3-pointers. So his line for 3-pointers is at 2.5. So far this season, 6 against Boston, 4 against Cleveland. Much better defensive teams than the Atlanta Hawks. So not only is he coming in this game with great form, 6 from 11 against Boston, 4 from 7 against Cleveland, shooting over 50% in both games. My man is hot right now. And if I remember correctly, had a few hot games last season. He's hot and cold, and right now my man's pretty horny. No, pretty hot. So jump onto Jordan Poole. Let's talk a little bit about this matchup. So we can see here this season, Jordan Poole scoring 75% of his points above the break, and he's scoring a lot of that as the pick and roll ball handler. He's up against the Atlanta Hawks today. So far this season, dead last in the league in defending above the break threes. So the matchup is excellent. The Hawks conceding the most 3-pointers made, I believe, this season. So this matchup is just fantastic. A lot of this happens because they play a whole lot of drop coverage in those pick and rolls, meaning point guard comes off that screen, usually wide open for a 3-pointer there. And Jordan Poole shown us this season, not afraid to take it. Now you can use the advanced data here on Props Madness to see if you can find a better edge. So he's taken 11 attempts against Boston, 7 against Cleveland. If we assume that 7 3-point attempts is his floor, we can actually break down the games where he takes at least 7 attempts to see what his hit rate would be. So let's take a look at that. Looking at his 3-point attempts last season, in games where he took a minimum of 7, we could see, looking at his last 20 games last season, he hit this line at a 75% hit rate, making 3.8 3-pointers per game. So the numbers really stack up, provided Jordan Poole gets the volume. I love him going over the 2.5. And being completely transparent with you, I also laid a little bit of cash on him to make 5 3-pointers in this game. The odds for it are terrific. So Jordan Poole is my first pick. In the next one, I'm heading over to the Dallas game. And Dallas is the team that I support right now. And I'm really happy to see someone like this, Klay Thompson, go off, and he's scoring quite well. I'm looking at over 17.5 points here for Klay Thompson. 2 games this season for Dallas. 22 against the Spurs, 19 against the Phoenix Suns, up against the Utah Jazz today, and the matchup is great. Just having a quick look at Klay Thompson's shot chart, 54% of his points come from above the break, but we're seeing another 31% from the corners. So we're looking at 85% of Klay Thompson's points come from the 3-point line. Similar players to Klay Thompson, Buddy Hield scored 27 points on the Utah Jazz already this season. we look at the Jazz chart on the defensive side, as you can see here with all this green, absolutely terrible at defending this three-point line. If you wanted to dive a little bit further, I looked on NBA.com to get some extra stats. So the first one, we're just looking at the teams and how they defend catch and shoot. Utah Jazz so far this season in 2 games, allowing the most catch and shoot buckets, 16 of those suckers per game. And then if we jump into the player section and we look at which players are making the most points from catch and shoots, we can see my man Klay Thompson sitting 5th in the league at the moment, scoring 9 points per game on catch and shoots. And safe to say, he hasn't even had the easiest matchups. Well, a matchup not as easy as this one against the Utah Jazz. So I do like it. Klay Thompson, the volume has been there. 13 shots in game 1, 6 from 10 from deep. And then against Phoenix, 5 from 12 from deep, 16 shots overall. And that was with Luka scoring 40 points. So if Klay Thompson can cover his points line and Luka still scores 40, it means he's a vital part of their offense. So they're going to run some sets for him. They're always going to be looking for him. And in a matchup like this, I really do like it. I did consider looking at his three-point line. The line for that is at 4.5. It's a plus money play as well, and he has covered that in both games, 6 and 5. But I think he'll make some threes in this game, but he can also score in other ways. So I do like his over either which way. So that's it for Klay Thompson. I do like his over there. Staying in the same game, another plus money play that I'm looking at here is Walker Kessler, looking at his rebounds prop, but looking at his rebounds, the line's at 8.5. It is at plus money. The best, you still get some 7.5s if you look around. 8.5 is the plus money play. Out of all these books, Bet365 is the main one that I happen to use. But let's talk about it. 2 games so far this season, 14 boards against the Grizzlies, played 30 minutes, 22 rebound chances. Against Golden State Warriors, only played 20 minutes. Small, difficult walk for Walker Kessler out there. So tough matchup. Still finished with 9 rebounds with 14 rebound chances. Now, it's up against the Dallas Mavericks today, and Dallas obviously run their 2 bigs, Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively. One of them's on the court at all times. So I feel like it's a good opportunity for Walker Kessler to get some minutes. If we look at how we performed last season, firstly in head-to-head matchups against Dallas, you can see covered in 2 out of 4, 27 minutes in 3 of those games, 17 minutes in this very last one in March. But towards the end of the season, when they were in full tank mode, Walker Kessler didn't necessarily see the minutes, also battled some injuries as well. So if we look at how he's been playing this season, 30 and 20 minutes. To play it safe, we can run our projections on 25 minutes. So just looking at his advanced filters for last season, when he gets at least 25 minutes, Walker Kessler over in 5 out of his last 10. But if we look at, and the 25 minutes is a conservative number, I do think they look to run him for at least 30. Like I said, Gafford and Lively, they're pretty much on there for 47 out of the 48 minutes. We think he's going to play 30. Well, I think he's going to play 30 minutes. That hit rate does improve quite substantially. Covered this line in 6 out of 8 games when he plays 30 minutes, averaging 10.8 boards. I do think he has a good opportunity here. Dallas playing with a little bit of pace at the moment. They're not looking as great as they once did, but they're also a team that's going to build into the season. Utah Jazz doing their own kind of rebuild, but they tend to be competitive early in the season anyway. So Walker Kessler, a year older, and we know these bigs, especially like Walker Kessler, can take a little bit of time. They don't necessarily jump into the league on fire. I think he has a pretty strong year, and I do like his rebound numbers. So should get about 30 minutes, and if he does, I think he clears 10 rebounds. His line's at 8.5. Like I said, on that 8.5, he's covered in both games this season. Give me that. Walker Kessler over his rebound line. Next play that I have is actually the Detroit Pistons and the Miami Heat game. And for this particular game, looking at Jalen Duren. Now, I did bet on Jalen Duren double-double not too long ago. I think it was against Cleveland, and he was pretty poor. I had 5 points and I think 9 rebounds. So I wasn't overly impressed by what he did. Double-double you can get for plus 110 if you do 10 points and 10 rebounds in a same-game parlay. Plus money play for Jalen Duren. Statistical data, we'll just look at points plus rebounds. His line's at 22.5, but I'm not too concerned with what that line is because if you hover over each graph, it'll give you his box score from each game. So the double-double only achieved in 1 game this season. 13 points, 13 rebounds against the Pacers. Didn't get it against Cleveland, like I said, and against Boston had 15 points, 9 rebounds, and 19 rebound chances. Now, one thing to call out here is these rebound chances. 20 rebound chances against the Pacers, 16 against the Cavs, and 19 against Boston. So he's averaging about 18 rebound chances, and I think that's a really good number to work off. So if we look at last season's data, and we are to filter, we're looking at points and rebounds. If we're going to filter out and just look at rebound chances, You can find it. Here we are. And if we go to the games where he has at least 18 rebound chances, because that's honestly where I expect him to be, 20 games last season with 18 rebound chances. And he's covered this points plus rebounds line in 90% of those games. He averaged 30.6 points and rebounds in those games. But his points and rebounds prop, it's at minus 113. Whereas if you look at the double-double, which is 10 points, 10 rebounds, I went through each and every single one of these games, and he pretty much had a double-double in 19 out of the 20. I think there was only one game where he didn't get it, and it was this one against Cleveland. He had 10 points and 9 rebounds. And even this game here against Miami, even though he had 21 points and rebounds, 11 points, 10 boards, still got the double-double. So in 19 out of 20 games, he's had a double-double when he's seen at least 18 rebound chances. That's what he's averaging this season. His games against Miami, 3 games against them, double-double in all 3 of those suckers. So I do like the matchup, the historical data here for Jalen Duren. I like him to go big today. So take that double-double. Pumping the brakes real quick to remind you guys to sign up with my partners. They all get deposit matches. They give you free squares. There's a benefit to each and every single one of them. My favorite right now is probably Dabble, because Dabble's giving you $25 risk-free. You just have to sign up with them. They'll give you $25 straight into your account, and you can build something nasty with them. If you're interested in checking out some of these guys, the links for them are in the video description below. Let's go! For my next pick, we're heading into this Spurs game, and I'm not doing anything too exciting here. I'm just betting on a player that's been reliable. Julian Champagnie, looking at over 8.5 points, 2 games this season, 18 against Dallas, 12 against the Houston Rockets. He's up against the Houston Rockets again, and he scored 12 points against them, 8 field goal attempts, 50% from deep, 50% from the field with 2 free throws. It wasn't the most amazing game, so I don't imagine the Houston Rockets suddenly put together a game plan to slow down Julian Champagnie. If anything, they've got to slow down Victor Wembanyama, who scored like 29 points. So I think Houston do make an adjustment there. And I think it just opened things up for Julian Champagnie. It's pretty straightforward, really. He's been cashing it as of late, and I think he's going to get more opportunity. One thing I do like about him this season is in the starting lineup without Vassell, and what we've seen, 12 field goal attempts against Dallas, 8 field goal attempts against Houston. And if we make the assumption there that 8 field goal attempts is his floor right now in this new lineup, if we look at the games where Julian Champagnie takes at least 8 field goal attempts last season, there was 18 of them. He's covered this points line in 17 of those games, averaging 12.8 points per game. So I do like Champagnie to cover his 8.5. It's as simple as that. Now, we're going to talk about 2 players that nobody's going to talk about. 2 young guys with relatively low lines, but I do think they cover them today. And for pretty much the same reasons. The first one, we're heading over to the Orlando Magic versus the Indiana Pacers. And I'm looking at Anthony Black, over 6.5 points. All right. I know you clicked on this video and you probably didn't expect to hear that name, but Anthony Black's my guy. I'm looking for over 6.5 points. We can see in 3 games this season, he scored 10 points in all 3 games. So we love that already. His recent form is pretty good. Minutes-wise, 28, 26, and 20. If we look at his field goal attempts, 9, 6, and 8. All right, Anthony Black, if you did not know, he's a pretty simple player. He's a lard, he's long, somewhat athletic, and he loves to attack the basket. Runs in transition, and he always attacks. So a lot of his points really come from within the paint. So if you take a look at this, 69% of his points this season are in the paint, and he's up against the Indiana Pacers, who don't give up many points on the outside. They give up a lot of points in the paint. So the matchup for Anthony Black is excellent here. I do love it. The Pacers, bottom 5 points in the paint so far this season. They were pretty shit at it last year as well. And I like Anthony Black being a bench player. There's an opportunity for a blowout here. Indiana, they are back-to-back. Could be a little bit tired. Orlando just lost their last game, so they'd probably be angry as hell. And it's very capable of having a blowout here. And if they do blow them out, I'm seeing high minutes here for Anthony Black, potentially 28 to 30 minutes. In the first games, Orlando won them comfortably. That's where Anthony Black saw a lot more time, 26 and 28 minutes. And if he gets the extra run time, I love the look for him to cover the 6.5 points. So Anthony Black, definitely there. If the blowout, if you think Orlando are good enough to blow them out, take Anthony Black for 10 points as well. I think that's a really good look. The next player that nobody's probably talking about is Julian Strawther from the Denver Nuggets. That's what I'm looking at here. His point line's at 5.5. He's covered in both games. 6 points against OKC, 8 points against the Los Angeles Clippers. played 17 and 16 minutes in those games. Now, Julian Strawther, similar to Anthony Black, young player, young guard off the bench, plays with a lot of pace, loves to attack the basket, but he also likes to shoot a lot of three-pointers. He's up against the Toronto Raptors here. The Denver Nuggets haven't been great to start the season off, losing to both OKC and the Los Angeles Clippers. Up against the Toronto Raptors, 8.5-point favorites. They should beat them up, really, because the Raptors are going to beat too many teams this season. I just like the look here. So one thing I do could happen here is if the Denver Nuggets do beat on them, obviously there's more middle in Strawther. Definitely a lot more than 16 and 17 minutes. But another thing that I like is the Denver Nuggets, their starters, been playing a lot of minutes to open the season. And I think they'd love to see some more production off their bench. And if we talk about benches for a second, the Toronto Raptors, their bench is awful. I actually went through their bench today just trying to take a look at it. Half the players I've never even seen before. Like, their bench is complete ass. They got no depth whatsoever. They've got Quickly and RJ Barrett, their game time decisions on whether they play. So that bench thins out even more. And I think Julian Strawther up against their second unit can really take advantage of it. So this season, 16 and 17 points in the two games. He's averaging 5.5 shot attempts. Now, if you want to look at last season's data, probably not the most reliable thing, but it's all we got right now. And if we were to filter out some of the numbers, if we just look at his field goal attempts, and let's say he takes a minimum of 5 and a max of 8, we use that as our range. Minimum of 5 and a max of 8 shots. He's covered this in 8 out of 11 games, averaging 6.7 points. Now, there's a real opportunity that he takes more than 8 shots if that blowout occurs. If you don't put any restrictors on it, if he's taking at least 5 shots, over in 17 out of 20. But I don't think he takes 16 shots in this game. I think 5 to 8 is a really good number to look through. And like I said, 72% hit rate there for Julian Strawther. And the matchup is excellent. The Raptors, not very good at defense anywhere. Strawther plays with a lot of transition, shoots a lot of threes. 2 3-pointers gets us right over this. So I think Julian Strawther can have a good game, and very similar to Anthony Black. If you think that there's a blowout coming, then I think 10 points for him is an excellent way to go. So that's a wrap on today's video. We've got a massive slate, so be careful out there. There's a lot of games, which means there's going to be a lot of bets going down. So be careful with your money. You worked hard for that. And if you made it this far into the video, I just want to say thank you. You know I appreciate it. Let me in the comment section what your thoughts are. What's your best play of the day? And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Best of luck to you, best of luck to me, and best of luck to us. Peace.